Okay, we're live. It's cool in the house. It dropped back into the 50s again last night, and so that the house is nice and cool, and I'm very much enjoying it. So I have a weighted blanket and a quilt, and it was wonderful. And yeah, so okay, but yeah. We're doing a new design for living. We're almost finished with the chapter, and I can see that I have a weird, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see it right there. The sunbeams glaring in, because it's sunny outside. Yep. The weather's it's been in the 80s since about mid-February. And so this dip into our normal temperatures, because it's supposed to be in the 50s and the 60s and maybe the low 70s. So 80s is not normal for February down here. So I'm enjoying the cooler weather while we've got it, and we'll see how long it lasts. Okay, a new design for living. Let's do the housekeeping. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact, email info@creativelife.org. That gets you one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. So click here now means it. And if, it's a blind CC. Nobody's going to see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email because of us. Last thing is the social medias. I only mention them from the sheer point of we do not monetize them. We don't want to deal with the ads anymore than you do. So what we ask you to do is go like, subscribe, follow, based on which platform it is, and then engage with the individual post by reacting to the post, commenting on the post, sharing the post. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, based on which platform it is. And then I am the running Rev Ryan across all of the platforms that I am on. So there is that. All right. We are getting close to the end of chapter 12. We are more than halfway through this book, which means I need to start thinking about my next book. Because, I think I've got 3 chapters left in Borg, so I will be finishing Borg up. I was going to do Emma's High Mysticism, but I may pause on High Mysticism and do 5 Emerson essays, and then come back to Emma. I'm going to get to her. But those Borg's taken a couple hours to read, so, here we are. All right, so the Emerson New Design for Living is one of Ernest's last books. It is not the last book that was put out for Ernest, but it is the last book that one of the last books that he had input on. Because they pulled together other material, like the Asila. If you haven't seen the Asilomar lectures, that book's pretty. And I've read bits of it. So, but this is the process of science of mind. This is how you do it. Because we are not a religion. What makes us different from religion is we don't tell you what to believe. We teach you how to believe. What you believe is between you and the divine. But how to believe, that's important. And we teach you why it's important. So, all right. And we are in the chapter of A Look at the Future, which is not what you think, okay? This is your first time here. No, because he's not talking about tomorrow. He's talking about forever. And because part of our theology is based on the fact that there is a part of us that does continue on. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. So the title today is A Basic Belief, and I have no idea what you could talk about, so let's find out. A basic belief. We cannot understand the true significance of immortality if we consider it for ourselves alone. Either it is a principle in nature or it has no reality whatsoever. If it is a principle in nature, it is universal and applies everywhere. Not just some people are immortal, but all people are immortal. That was a really interesting way of saying that, so I'm going to think about that. This may shock some and contradict certain theological dogmas, but if there is any truth in immortality, and there appears to be, then this is the way it would have to be. The idea that God is not a God of the dead, but of the living, is both inspirational and logical. Inspirational in that it is an insight into the nature of reality, that is with a capital R, by the way, and logical in that it implies that which is life, the very essence and the very principle of life, cannot conceive of death or non-existence. Wow, that is kind of a paragraph there. All people in all times have evidenced a belief in the continuation, the perpetuation of that essential element in humanity, spirit. It appears to be something that they instinctively know within themselves. Life within them proclaiming its nature. Many of the earliest traces of humanity that we have been able to discover are burial sites. Yeah. That and trash pits. So, and I have a degree in archaeology. So yeah. Even before humanity developed to the point of being modern humanity, okay, as we know them today, they buried their dead and placed beside them artifacts for their use in a future life. And our ancestors, our direct ancestors, are not the only ones. We have found Neanderthal burial sites and the Denisonian. Now, there's a V in there. And I believe if we go back into I think that they have found some, I'm not sure if it's in the Australopithecine branch. But, there are other branches that we're related to that aren't necessarily our direct ancestors, and our direct ancestors before we became, Homo sapien sapien. So, when they found the Neanderthal burial, they about lost the dang minds, really, because the body was carefully laid, carefully positioned, covered in flower petals and ochre. That doesn't happen by accident. So, yeah. And the things that we have, I mean, you can look at the emperors of China, but you can also just look at the very common, everyday people and what they bury them with. So it's phenomenal, amazing, wonder-filled, and it just makes you stop and think. So, yeah. So, artifacts for a future life. Yep. Their prized possessions are, they dress them carefully and send their prized possessions with them. In the not too far removed past, any idea of immortality was considered by many to be wishful thinking. A forlorn hope without any basis in fact or reason, but not today. The spiritual universe is a firm and necessary reality, and we at the center of our being are spiritual entities and part and parcel of a timeless, eternal reality, infinite consciousness and intelligence. So, if we're going to talk about what we are made of, and that's kind of what he's leaning into here. What Science of Mind believes is that there's really only one stuff. God stuff. And every single one of us is made of God stuff. Well, if that's the case, we're pretty sure God stuff's eternal. And if we're made of God stuff, then we must be too. It's one of the reasons why I was leaning into the teaching symbol the other day, because it comes out of the unseen into the seen, out of the spiritual into the material, and then heads back up. But that right there, that's what he's talking about. The little thumb means it's going to start the process right over again. So it's not wishful thinking. It is hope, but that's the part where we have to talk about belief. What do you believe? It's the part that is the comfort when you lose somebody that you care about. You know that in some way, you'll see him again. And that's one of those things. I looked a song up. Actually, I looked a band up yesterday and then learned the story behind Layla and then learned the story. I already knew the story behind Tears from Heaven by Eric Clapton. But that line in there that, if I see you in heaven, will I know who you are? Will you know who I am? Will I recognize you? And that's the question. But I think the truth is that the answer is yes. But it's not going to be the physical that we recognize, but the spiritual that we recognize. We're going to recognize the spiritual energy. I don't know about the physical, I don't. But I think you'll recognize the spiritual energy. Because occasionally they do come back and visit us. My grandmother comes back surprisingly often to visit me. Mostly in dreams, but, who knows? All right, beloveds. Oh, talking about immortality is always a little maudlin. So, not morbid, maudlin. And it's Friday, so I'm going to move on to the process of my day. I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, let's wrap this week up day, enjoy the sunshine day, enjoy the cooler weather day, or if you live somewhere cold, bundle up day, cuddle your fur babies day, do something just for yourself day, eat something that tastes good day, and then follow that up by eat something that's good for you day, take a deep breath day. I started to yawn. I'm like, I need oxygen. So take a deep breath day. It's all going to be okay day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, I get it, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light and a divine spark and a beautiful masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time at your own pace. My favorite part of that sentence. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. So explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good. It's all the divine knows. And from there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds. I'm going to move on. I'm going to go to the park tomorrow. So I will see you after 9, probably, with a park story, I'm quite sure. Take care of yourself. Oh, and Reverend David should be on this evening. That's all I'm going to say. Because you and I both know we don't know when he's going to be on. So take care of yourself. Know that